Hey guys, do I want to change that to hey everyone? I don't know. I want to change my intro. I don't like it. Anyways, I want to talk about nostalgia today. Um, and I've just kind of been thinking about life and how things have changed the last 28 years, and like, people often, and by people I mean like general public, often complain about like Hollywood not coming out with anything new and just making remakes and not having original ideas and not giving, new writers and stuff a chance with their ideas, which is true and fair, and I agree. But I think part of it is, well, obviously part of it, nostalgia sells. It's but I think it sells because a lot of it is our childhood, if that makes sense. Like, that's why the Marvel movies do so well. And despite DC having it not being as good as their animated series, they do really, really well with their animated series, but not so well with their in their TV stuff. It's great. The movies, not so great. But I think part of it is why it sells so well is because it's our childhood. You had all these fun things as a kid. You had all these superheroes and Ghostbusters, Back to the Future, stuff like that. And it was fun and took you out of reality. And when we were children, you're innocent. You don't have to pay bills. You just play for the most part. You play and go to school. Much simpler time. And as an adult, and as adults, we were just like, we'd go to work, come home, maybe watch some TV, and go to bed. On the weekends, maybe we do our hobby, maybe we go to the movies, maybe we go out. But it's kind of just the same thing day in and day out. When you're a kid, every day is an adventure. And I think that's why why nostalgia sells so well, is because the people, we buy it up, we eat it up. And it's because we're just trying to get to a simpler time where we don't have to worry about bills and, groceries and what's going to happen in the next 6 months. And we don't, just to ignore the horrors of the world for a while. And it's just, trying to get back to a simpler time, basically. And I think that can go for not just like movies and stuff, though that's a lot of what is remade, but like they're remaking a lot of cartoon series. And then I know there was one that's coming out recently. I don't remember what it was, but people were like really upset about it. And like there was also a meme going around. It's like, this remake of this cartoon is not for you. It's for the children of today. And it's like, oh yeah, I'm not a child anymore. Because it wasn't the same type of animation or something like that. And it's not to say the animation was bad. It just wasn't what you're used to. It's just like you're clinging on to these little bits of your past, and like these memories associated, these good memories and things associated with that. And it's just like, no, you're destroying my memories. And it's like, no, your memories are the same. So yeah, and it's just, I think that's kind of how it is with like sequels and stuff too. Like with the Star Wars movies, it's been very half and half. People are like, I loved it, it was awesome, and I'm in that category. I'm like, I don't care. I get to see Luke and Leia and Han and Chewie and new characters, and I just enjoy it. It's fun. I haven't watched the prequels since they came out in the late 90s, early 2000s. I did see them in theaters, and I was a child. I loved them when I saw them, but I haven't seen them since then, so I guess I think I may have seen them more recently than that, like in the last 6 or 7 years. Maybe not. Maybe maybe more closer to 15 years. It's been a while, but people are like, these are terrible, for various reasons. But and again, the other half of the like Star Wars fan spectrum, and I'm generalizing, but is like, this sucks, this is terrible, this isn't how it's supposed to be, blah 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 blah. And it's just like, well, it's making a fuck ton of money, so clearly you and others like it enough to spend your money on it. And it's just it's a mixture of not wanting to lose the fondness we have, the innocence we have, the happiness we have associated with things, and also wanting to keep them really pure and keep that memory the same. So and so like maybe that's why I haven't seen the prequels. Like, I remember going with my aunts and uncles and my grandmother when they came out. I was like 10ish, I think, around then, and seeing them, and that's my memory associated with Phantom Menace. And I feel like if I went back and watched it now, I might not have that same enjoyment of it. And there's like books I've gone back and read, and TV shows I've gone back and read that I loved, and I'm like, ooh, that's bad. And I may have already said this, but it's, well, now I forgot the thought. I'm tired, you guys. I'm always tired. When am I not tired? But I think it's just, we use nostalgia as escapism to, again, harken us back to a time of joy and innocence, and where the big people, the adults world, was so far away, wasn't present in our mind. We didn't have those worries. We didn't know what was happening in other countries, terrible things that was happening in other countries and in our country. You know, we barely had a grasp on what crime even was, and, you know, hurting with someone was, say, calling somebody mean, or, you know, picking on them or stuff like that. And it's just like, you know, it wasn't the horrors that come with growing up, basically. And just realizing that we live in a shit show. And I think, you know, and I think Hollywood knows that. And I think that's why we have so many remakes and, you know, things coming from books and stuff like that. And it's like, well, this did well here on the business side of it. And you're like, well, this book or this anime or this manga or whatever, this comic book sold really well. It has a lot of fans. It has a big fan base. We can probably get that at least 75% of that fan base, if not more, to watch the movie. So we make a profit. There's definitely that. And then I think, maybe in the back of the mind, subconsciously, there's like, people are buying nostalgia because they need it. They need that happiness of being an innocent child when they didn't have any worries, and associate that with this new movie, this new remake. So I don't have a problem with nostalgia, but I want it to be good. Like, I do want to go into a remake of something and enjoy it more than I did the original, which might be hard to do. It might be asking a lot because, you know, say it's 20 years since you saw the original. Even if you've rewatched it a million times and you still have the same feelings towards the original, and you're going into the remake with fairly high hopes that it's going to be decent, and that you are hoping to have that same feelings that you had with the original, and if you don't, then you're disappointed. So it's like, the acting has to be good, the writing has to be great, the way it is, the cinematography of it has to be great. And I think that's like the hiccup in the nostalgia thing. It's just like, we don't go in being like, this, we're not gonna feel the same way as we did when we were 5 years old. We don't have that same mentality anymore. we don't have that same sense of wonder and amazement and excitement. We're so jaded and cynical now that we try to, you know, ruin everything. It's like, if I'm not happy, no one can be happy, which is a shitty way to be. But yeah, so I think that's all I have to say on it. I've already repeated myself a million times, just so it was more than a 3-minute long video. This is one of my shorter ones for real, though. But I think I'm also doing this because Endgame is coming out this week. Which is exciting. It is. I went back and watched this Iron Man that started all this, and it's amazing to see how that has grown and changed and gotten better. And it still holds up. It's still pretty good. Again, but it's not as good as I remember seeing it 10 years ago. Still good, all that good stuff, but just like, they've really gotten better. And I think that's what we want. We're living in a DC world, but we're expecting Marvel out of our lives. Hopefully that makes sense. Taking my ass to bed. I love you guys. Boop that like button and subscribe, and I will see you in the next video. I love you guys. Bye.